Hi guys, Alex Peak Performance Reviews. Welcome to another vlog and welcome to another vlog and video of the Supra. And you'll notice it's in my barn, so it means it's back with me. I think if you follow some stories on Instagram and follow us on that, you'll see some kind of other little telltale signs that let you know that the car's back and gives you a bit of a giveaway. But yes, it's back. I've had a chance to drive the car loads, so I don't think I've done a video with it starting up, so I may have started this vlog with a starting up video. If I haven't, my brain's fried. I've just been so busy with bits on here, trying to get it all ready for be started up, alongside Remain at Race Cow and Mark's Extreme Engines. And yeah, anyway, it's home. Yeah, we've driven it. I've already driven it about 100 miles. It drives absolutely flawlessly. Smooth, beautiful and amazing, and it sounds just gorgeous. Do you know what? I'm going to insert a clip now. And yeah, I'm sure you'll agree with me. It just sounds absolutely amazing. Sweet as a nut. Considering it's running on running oil at the moment, or was, should I say. The smoke amount is like next to nothing. It's really, really clear once it settles. Idle is very low because the cams are crazy when it first turns on cold start, and then it just settles because the Cyvex is so clever. They've got a target enrichment and RPM rev range that will allow it to get rid of that lope. As much as I like it, it can be detrimental to the health of the car if you allow that. I know it sounds ridiculous and some people will say no. It's to do with fueling and other stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, realistically, we've got this home. I've got a few jobs, and I say a lot of little jobs that I want to get done on this car before I start running it quite a bit. It's a miserable day here in the UK at the moment. I'll show you. It's disgusting. It's horrible, and well, it was worse than that earlier on, but it's not so bad now. But it's still really, really cold. 1 degree outside, not the right temperature for this. It's got a base map on it at the moment. It's not running. It's been running on a dyno. It's had about an hour or so of run up, probably not quite that, but had some work on the dyno to get it a base map really, really good. And it's been running on the dyno from Race Cow, and then it's basically been run a bit more on the road. And then what we've done is we've got rid of the running engine oil, and then we've changed that, and we've put in some race fuel, which is an Easter race fuel, race oil even, Easter based, and literally ran it another 100 miles. Remain has recommended that I do about another 200-300 miles. And to be fair, the clutch on that thing is brand new. It's a triple plate OS Geekin clutch. It is so mental that it's going to be really hard to get used to, because then you go into another car with a normal clutch, which is relatively hard, and it feels like it's non-existent, like you've got no clutch. It's just crazy. So I will get used to it. I think probably, to be fair, it's brand new clutch, triple plate, crazy. So it probably will bed in a bit. It's always going to be a bit crazy, but yeah, I've got to do a bit more running on that. And by the time you come to watch this, depending on how quickly you watch this, it's got tuning booked in really, really soon, like crazy soon. It's booked in. I'm not going to say no more. Await the video, it's going to be awesome. And anyway, let me run you through some of the bits I have to finish off and do on this car now. Right, so I've popped the bonnet so you've got a little bit of eye candy in the background. So I'm going to go through, I've got a list in front of me, some things that we've got to do. So we've got to cut and fit breather lines with fittings. There is breather lines in there already, you'll see, but they're cut, and I'll show you, I'll flip it round. We didn't have the right fittings. One of them has popped off. It did fall down actually onto the manifold while I was driving, so it got really hot. Actually didn't catch fire, thankfully. But basically the fittings for the breathers are not right. It was my fault. I don't know. You know, I've not had enough time with this car to remember what was in some of this, and probably panic buyed and rushed, and some of the fittings were wrong. to pretty much everywhere. So we've had to almost put them on with these clamp hoses. It is a really like low pressure line because it's just for the breather system, but nonetheless there's still pressure on there. So and then obviously you may get a little bit of weepy oil because it will collect in the catch can. It comes across the coil packs, which is not ideal, I don't like, but we had to do the best of a bad situation in many respects, and it was fine as such. Hasn't worked perfect, but it doesn't matter. It got the car running for a bit and allowed us to do the running dyno, plus it's done what it needs to do for me to drive it a bit from race cal. This line is all needing to be changed. We've got proper fittings to go on the end of the catch can to dash 12, and then we needed a couple of orb fittings for the back of those breathers. I'm going to change the orientation, and instead of it going across here, because in my opinion when I use my carbon fiber intake light, that's going to be right in the way, and it's right in the way of the plugs and stuff like that. It's not ideal. It was best of a bad situation at the time. It was perfectly fine. Now we're going to redo the lines, make them go that way, and then they'll bank round right to the very back, and they'll probably come down there and then straight into the catch can. We'll rotate that a little bit. They'll go straight into the catch can. That's one of the jobs. Next job is to remake the battery ends on the terminal. I think I had to do some a quick fix on when I'd done the relocation. If you didn't know, I'd done a battery relocation, so the battery's in the boot. I bought a race battery, much to the dismay of my tuner. He hates race batteries. I get it. They've got such poor cold cranking amps, and in the weather here in the UK, especially when it's like 1 degree, it struggles to turn the car over to the extent it barely does. We needed to jump start it a couple of times. I used a slightly bigger battery, and it's still struggling in cold weather, so I'm going to use a bigger battery. I'm probably not going to go with a race battery. As much as I like to keep weight down, it is what it is. Viscous heavy oil, much more robust, heavy, stronger internals inside. As clever and as fancy as materials as they are, it just requires a lot more cranking force and cold cranking amps to rotate it and get it to fire up. So I want it to be really, really good. So I'm going to get something probably in the circa region of 500, 600 amps, cold cranking amps, just to make sure I keep myself out of trouble when I'm needing to be here, there and everywhere and starting up and turning off. And I want to drive this a lot. So yeah, weight. I'm going to try and remove weight and keep weight down like I have been, but sometimes you just have to sacrifice it. But there you go. So I've got to redo some lines, or I've got to basically put the where the lines come through the bulkhead. I've done a really best of a bad situation there as well. The lines are just chafing and rubbing on the on some cut edges. If I run the car for much longer like that, I think it will cut the wires, which is obviously very, very, very dangerous. Arcing of a positive cable, etc. Not going to be good. Not going to be fun. So I've got some little kind of gland cable holes, connectors, which we can drill and do some stuff with in the bulkhead, make it a lot more neat. That's going to be the next one. I've got a new number plate. This number plate is weathered and dying, so I've got to put a new one of that. Clean the Supra. It's not necessarily high priority at the moment. Check headlights. I want to do some LED conversion on some of the lights, take it up to the modern times and give it a bit more nice colour and beam strength. Install the dash, which is just laying out everywhere. And I'm doing a clever fancy thing with the dash and mounting the iPad into the dash ready for the tuning. And that's about it, actually. That's it. So like I say, keep an eye on the video. I'll try and give you some updates as to how it's going. Sorry I've been talking loads, but still, look at it. I'm just so excited this is back. Tuning is very, very soon, guys, so keep an eye on the channel. Let's see if we can crack at least 1,000 horsepower on this car. I think we're going to. It should be able to make a little bit more, but yeah, let's see what we can do on this stage of the build and the tuning, etc. But anyway, let's carry on with the build video. Catch you in a bit. Big up Exo Racing. Really, really good for fittings. I wish I was given these. I weren't. I paid for them. But yeah, they're really good for lines. Got the first orb fitting in. Just going to put this one in that other side as well. And yeah, orientate them that way. And it's going to go, well, that way, and I'll show you. So we've got the breather pipes or breather ports in a direction in which I think we're going to have to run them. Put the new orb fittings in. We've measured up for the new dash 12 fittings line, should I say. I'm going to give them a cut and then get those fittings on and put them on. Right, so we cut it. I'm just going to mock fit it now and see how it looks like it fits roughly. Right, I've made up my lines. These two have got two kind of straights. The other one had a 90 and a straight. They're all made up. One's already done. It's in the breather. I'm going to put this last one up. Very awkward to measure these up. Sometimes best to do it on a string. I do it kind of by mock running a bit of pipe down, kind of mark it or put a bit of tape somewhere and then cut it in the middle. And then, yeah, it's experimental. It's not easy. It's awkward. And then ideally you need a vise, 32mm and an adjustable, big adjustable, and vice-like grip, which I've got. Woohoo! And I've managed to make them, and they're really nice actually. So yeah, just going to check, make sure this last line's the right size. I have got some spare, but yeah, let's crack on. Ready, mini reveal, new number plate, new carbon fibre intake. I forgot to mention that. Lines rerouted, although actually you'll see I've put a fitting up here. I didn't realise I had the 90 full flow. So where that goes up a little bit, actually does weirdly, believe it or not, clears the bonnet, but I think it kind of touches minusculely. This 90 will make it kind of sweep down lower, a lot lower, which would be quite nice actually. So I'm going to redo that another on day 2, which you'll see in a mo. Lines all put in there, just need to make a better bracket. But yeah, in general, there's a few tidying up bits that we need to do, but it's looking pretty sweet. Yeah. And on to day 2. So I'm going to carry on with the car. Say appropriate top for the day. Supra hoodie. Yeah, so I'm going to get back into this. I've got a few more things I need to do before I take it on its long journey to, well, not that long journey, but journey to the dyno. So yeah, watch on and I'll get you some more footage. So again, I can't really show you everything, but just in the background, I'll flip this round. I've just redone one of the fittings around there because it was kind of going up like that, and then I was having to use the kind of pipes natural bend, or the braided hoses natural bend. It was kind of touching against the bonnet. It would shut, which is kind of fine, but it didn't look that great. So I've got a swept 45-degree fitting on it, and it just sits beautifully. It's effectively, because it's coming out of the port 45 degrees, it goes another 45 degrees, so you kind of get a 90-degree from the flat top of the motor. So it kind of comes out like that. It's really good. I'll flip it around and explain and show you. You imagine the flat top of the motor. Basically, that is now elbowed out like that. So it kind of really sits really nicely. I do have to do something. I'm not going to do this not right now, but I need to make a better bracket up for the catch can, because it does kind of twist a little bit, and it's a little bit loose, but it will do the job really well at the moment. Aesthetic wise, it will look better. And this line, I think, because it's quite stiff, it just wants to pop up. I'll get some cable tidy or a line tidy, twin clip and connector, and probably put it up against the body, and then that will sit really nice. If I push this in, so roughly where it will go. No, it probably is quite hard to do, but it does sit really, really nice. I've had it sitting much better than that. But so yeah, it's a shame it is doing that. Let me see if I can sort that. Voila. Has a bit of a natural curve up there, but you can't do nothing about it. But yeah, like if you look how that now sits much better. I think, unfortunately, because there's such big lines, it's the only way you can run them. So you get this little kink where it kind of follows the body up near the strut towers, where the suspension sits at the top. That's going to be kind of as good as it gets, but in general, that is a sexy looking engine bay with lots of carbon fibre. Intake, new carbon intake. I probably didn't tell you about that. So nice 5-inch bore internal diameter intake pipe. I've actually got this stuffed in quite a bit, so I might actually extend that out a little bit so you can see a little bit more carbon fibre, because I think it comes to about there, so you can run a good bit extra length. Yeah, you probably see this jutting out a little bit as well. Needs to be set right. Like I say, you do need to make a bracket for that so it sits a little bit nicer, but we can sort that. but in general, happy days. I'm now going to redo some of the battery relocation lines, because obviously we're still running some of the stock fuses and things like that, so there's still things, and obviously at the end of the day it comes from also the alternator, so you still have to have battery cables in here. But yeah, like I said, there's not much space in here. Still need a lot of tidying. This, like I say, is as it is. Had hands on, a lot of people working on it. So it just needs a nice clean, but we're going to get it in the dyno like this was all very similar to this, and then we'll give it a proper, like another day I'll probably do a detailing video. I'm going to do a full build video as well about the build recipe and kind of how much it costs to build a like 1000 horsepower or 1000 wheel horsepower type setup like this. Again, like I've said to people who do subscribe to this channel, this has way more potential than what this snail is going to allow it to run. Potential of 11, 12, 1250 horsepower flywheel, but realistically it's going to be capable of 2000. Happy days.